over the years, I think we've lost track of K a little bit. Growers have forgotten how important it's been. You can go by sometimes with a large number of years without an application, and all of a sudden it hits you, you got potassium deficiency symptoms. And it's rare that you really see strong potassium deficiencies. Right. But it is showing up, and because K got expensive and people kind of forgot about it, I think they, there's been articles out saying you don't really need K, and I don't understand how that can even be. It's commonly in the level of nitrogen for plant need. On potatoes, it turns out it's higher than nitrogen, but most plants take up as much or more K than nitrogen. And yet, what do we talk about all the time? Nitrogen, 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 right. Nitrogen, and we kind of forget that other half of the macronutrient puzzle. And there's certain crops that it's just brutal. Potatoes being one of them. When you harvest your potatoes, you're actually removing about 60% of the K you applied that the plant's taken up. If you are growing alfalfa or grass hay, you're removing 100% of the K that's taken up. And so we have some real hogs on the system. Forage crops and potatoes tend to be the big hogs for K on the system. And what do we use to rotate? Alfalfa, potatoes, alfalfa, potatoes.
Yep, exactly.
And so everybody forgets about how important K is until, kind of smacks them upside the head, and all of a sudden you got deficiency symptoms, and they call me. What happened? Well, you haven't been applying K. And we have some huge problems with how do we fertilize a hay crop. And we got some research going on in Central Oregon about that. Do we put it all in front? Do we dole it out over the season?
Okay,
do we put a little bit after every cutting? So that right timing thing is, and we got tissue tests that indicate if you're, below like 1.6% K in an alfalfa plant, you're probably in the deficiency range. So we're actually talking about going more to a tissue test way of managing K rather than a soil test. We know our soil test tells us we got to put more K on than we can afford. If you put the application rate at 200, which is probably a pretty reasonable rate for most of our forage crops, how do we need to put that 200 on? Do we put it on in the fall? It's not like potatoes where it interacts with the soil. You have an opportunity to probably get that in the plant, and then, whether it doles it out the rest of the growing season, I suspect it's not that simple.